Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Can and will the VA change rating schedules? Yes, they do, and that does happen. A while ago, I had put out a video on some information regarding some proposed changes to rating schedules by the VA, and it's kind of died on the vine. I hadn't really heard anything or seen it bubble up anywhere until recently. I started to see a couple folks talking about it. So I tried to do a little digging, and in fact, I actually called the Federal Register, their phone number, to ask for an update on this specifically as well. In the meantime, I just wanted to share with you kind of this is old information from 2022, but it's just to highlight that there is a process that kind of happens. There's the proposed request, goes to the Federal Register, they can get comments, all of that stuff. And then a change can occur within the rating schedules. And how fast that happens, I don't really know. I mean, sometimes it moves at the speed of molasses. So the big thing here and the takeaway up front is, look, file for all of your conditions as soon as you know that you can, because you never know when changes may occur. And if you're already rated, you will be grandfathered in, right? Don't miss the boat. For example, one of the ones that was proposed was, let's eliminate tinnitus as a service-connected condition and only view tinnitus as a symptom to another condition, let's say Meniere's disease, for example. So that's important, right? It's important to understand what's happening in the background. So, you know, I get it. Sometimes things seem misleading and seem, ill-intentioned maybe, and it's not. Look, it's just about awareness. Know what's happening in the background. Know what's going on. Know what kind of conversations are happening regarding changing benefits and how they're rated, and all of that stuff is an important thing to understand. Even if it's not something that's coming to fruition today, it lets you know that these types of things happen. So guess what? File for the things you need to file for quickly. Don't procrastinate. Don't sit on the fence for 20 years, right? And I get it. The 20 years sitting on the fence, that would be an intentional thing. There's people that wait 20 years because it wasn't really intentional, right? So if you have a buddy that has not filed a claim and it's been many years, tell them, look, hey man, file your claim. Get on them a little bit more. I mean, obviously you probably already had, but in any case, I'm just going to kind of read through this a little bit. This is, again, an old posting directly from the VA's website on February 15th, 2022. They're telling us what they're proposing to do. Now, I haven't really heard anything since, and again, I did go to the Federal Register page, and I'll read a little off of that too. In the meantime, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. Let the video run. I appreciate that. It helps to put this in the hands of others. So the title on the VA's press release is VA proposes updates to rating schedule for respiratory, auditory, and mental disorders. And again, that's February 15th, 2022. So it's been almost 2 years and we haven't really seen anything come to fruition. My phone call to the Federal Register was, look, did this thing die on the vine? Would they have to restart the process? Or is this something that's still kind of happening in the background? So hopefully they'll call me back. If they don't, I'll call them again. All right. So it's not that long. I'm just going to read through this press release. So the Department of Veterans Affairs is proposing changes to the VA rating schedule for disabilities, specifically pertaining to the respiratory, auditory, and mental disorders body systems. So again, remember the schedule of ratings is broken down into different segments. They call them books. So this would be in the respiratory book, the auditory, and the mental disorders. So the proposed updates to the rating schedule for these conditions will enable VA to incorporate modern medical data and terminology to provide veterans with more accurate and consistent decisions. And if I remember right, it's been a while, it was negative for the auditory, the tinnitus. It was negative for the respiratory, which was sleep apnea, and then it was positive for mental disorders. So just so you're aware. All right, so moving on, Northeast District Director Thomas Murphy stated that, and then he also stated that performing the duties of the Undersecretary for Benefits is his current role, blah, blah. Updating the rating schedule allows veterans to receive decisions based on the most current medical knowledge relating to their condition. By incorporating modern medical data in the assessment of disabilities and how they impact earning capacity, veterans will receive evaluations which more accurately compensate them for their service-connected disabilities. Proposed updates include, okay, now again, remember this is 2 years old now. Modernizing the evaluation rating criteria for sleep apnea using developments in medical knowledge to evaluate it based on its responsiveness to treatment. So if your CPAP is working, you're not getting a higher rating, right? You're not getting a 50% rating is basically what they're saying. So if they're looking at using the developments in medical knowledge to evaluate its severity, really, based on its responsiveness to treatment, bringing the rating criteria for sleep apnea more closely in line with the stated purpose of the rating schedule. Moving on, so then, in my mind, let's talk about that for a minute. So let's just say that they did implement this, and let's say that now no longer 50% exists for sleep apnea with a CPAP solely, right? Because your sleep apnea could effectively be treated, we'll say, with a CPAP. However, you may have other issues that then develop as secondaries, right? So you have to kind of work that, I think. Evaluating tinnitus is the next one. Ringing in the ears, a symptom of, let's start it again. This is what the proposed change is. Evaluating tinnitus as a symptom of an underlying disease which causes it, rather than a standalone disability. Okay, so that would just wipe tinnitus off the board as a condition, which some people are having secondary effects or secondary conditions related to. So now, chances are, if something like this went through, everybody would be grandfathered in, but all the new people would not have tinnitus as a condition, and therefore any secondaries that would have hinged off of that would not be able to happen unless that tinnitus is actually a symptom of an underlying disease in which gets service connected. So moving on to the next one, evaluating mental health conditions based on a more robust and holistic approach that assesses how impactful the disability is to cognition, interpersonal relationships, task completion, life activities, and self-care. So it would focus more on those things, right? Cognition, your relationships, your task completion, your life activities, and self-care would be the main components for mental health. Additionally, the proposed evaluation criteria include a 10% minimum evaluation for having one or more service-connected mental health conditions, and will no longer require, this is an important part, this would no longer require total occupational and social impairment to attain the 100% evaluation. So this is the one positive really out of all of this, is the mental health rating schedule. So moving on, the last paragraph here, no change to a veteran's current rating would occur due to these proposed changes, which means, again, you'd be grandfathered in, and you wouldn't lose anything if they changed this after you had been rated. If the proposed changes are finalized, veterans who currently receive compensation for a service-connected condition can apply for increased compensation, but no reduction shall be made unless an improvement in the veteran's disability is shown to have occurred. So the only one that would really relate to would be mental health. So let's say that you're at 70% on mental health, but then they change the rating schedule and they get rid of that requirement of total occupational and social impairment, and now you believe that you would be able to reach that 100% based on your symptoms of your mental health condition or conditions, then you could reapply for an increase, is basically what they're saying. And Then here it says that the public has 60 days to provide comments to VA regarding the 2 proposed updates through the Federal Register notices located here and here. And they have a couple hyperlinks. And then when I click on those, it takes me to the page, the Federal Register page, and it gives us information on this proposal, right? And this is the part that I'm kind of talking about, right? It's just kind of dead on the vine. There is a phone number section that I found in here, and I called it and left them a message to ask what the status is. I'm just scrolling around to see if I missed anything. It says, all it really talks about here is that the publication date is February 15th, 2022, and the VA must receive comments on or before April 18th, 2022. And then that's when the comments close. The document type, proposed rule, and talks about the pages within the CFR, and that's really it. It doesn't really give us any sort of an update on, hey, did this thing die on the vine, or what's going on with it. So hence my phone call to see if this is just an extremely long, drawn-out process that potentially would go into effect, or is it just dead? So we'll find out, and like I said, I will continue to reach out. For those that are interested, the phone number is 202-461-9700, and that is the staff for the compensation for VA at the Federal Register. So again, the number's 202-461-9700. All right, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.